Hi, I'm Ros Cardinal, Managing Director of Shaping Change, and I wanted to talk to you about a case study on the drivers of discretionary effort. Now, this is going back a couple of years ago now, when I facilitated a session with a client to capture significant learnings from a crisis. Now, to cut a very long story short, we'd had some devastating bushfires here in Tasmania, and my client lost substantial assets in the fire. Now, they're a provider of essential public services, so there's considerable pressure to really restore functionality as soon as possible. Now, I'd already been working with this client on developing behaviours and shifting culture, and something we already knew is that their people operate very differently during a time of crisis. So we've regrouped after the restoration effort to really pinpoint what behaviours were different, why they happened, and how they could continue the useful behaviours going forward. So we started with an open conversation sort of loosely based around these questions. What are you most proud of? What was your biggest contribution? And how did it feel to be part of this? Now, the group ended up in really clear agreement that the way they worked was really highly efficient and productive. And as the conversation flowed, I captured what worked well and why. The first was clear purpose. There was one single clear purpose. Everyone understood the purpose. It was simple and the message was really clear at all levels. The purpose was really consistently and constantly reinforced by messages and by actions, and everybody knew their direct contribution to this purpose. Secondly, there were clear roles. There were clearly defined teams and leaders were identified in each team. They weren't necessarily formal roles, but people were asked to really step up and take on a leadership function, if you will. There was clearly defined decision-making scope, and the roles of the teams and the organisation, the individuals were clearly communicated to everybody. Thirdly, there were clear goals. The goals were really defined and allocated on a daily basis, and they were adjusted as it was required from information that was fed back from the workforce. Achievement of the goals was reviewed daily, and everyone understood the consequences of not achieving goals. Now, an interesting note about consequences, they weren't explicitly stated by management, but the individuals felt they'd be letting down the team and the customers if they didn't achieve their goals. So it's a really useful point to remember that when the team's fully engaged, you don't need to manage by consequences. There was also really good communication. There were regular, clear messages from the top down, and people were constantly talking within teams and across teams. There was daily discussion at the start and end of every day about achievements, and the focus was always on the positives. There were key contact points established to coordinate the knowledge, and it was based on skills, not hierarchy. Induction into each job and situation was really thorough and timely, so people hit the ground running every single day. The group really noted, though, the big difference in communication was they had real conversations, not briefings. The two-way communication was something they said was really, really effective. There's also making a difference. People felt they were part of something really special. The core work was the most important priority, and the impact of the work was clear and visible to them. They also had a sense of urgency. Everybody was committed to achieving the purpose. People did what was needed to enable the crews to do the job. Decision-making was quicker. Red tape and processes were, I guess, expedited to enable the work to really take priority. People were focused and motivated, and the urgency helped people realise what's important. It was noted by the group that business blockers were still in existence, but people found ways to work around or through them. The next thing was that there was challenge. The focus was on how can we do this, not we can't do this. It was a really huge stretch goal, but people stepped outside the normal processes and ways of doing things to make things happen. Interestingly, the focus on safety and risk management was even stronger than normal. And despite the deviation from the normal way of working, there were actually no incidents. The challenge really sort of fostered innovation and different approaches to problem solving, and people challenged their own thinking. There was empowerment and ownership. There were opportunities for people to step up and do things they wouldn't normally have the chance to do and make decisions when it was required. The teams had full accountability for their work, and people owned their work and their achievements. They also utilised skills. People stepped into work outside their core roles, and the teams relied on individual experience and expertise, not on roles. The business was really readily accessed resources, internal and external, people, machinery, equipment, the whole lot. And there was also reward and recognition. People and teams were recognised for efforts and their achievements from right across the business. The public acknowledged and thanked workers for their efforts, and there was genuine recognition and gratitude. And recognition was as simple as a thank you at the end of every day. So I found it to be a fascinating insight from the ground about what really enables discretionary effort.